Hey guys, Dr. Dex here. Today, I'm comparing two brand spanking new cordless worm drive saws. One's by Makita, one's by DeWalt, and we actually have a DeWalt saw. I've never used the Makita one. I really don't use that brand a whole lot, but I scored a really good deal and I figured, what the heck? Why not have an extra framer on site? You know, framing saw or maybe a demo saw or something like that. But I wanted to go through a few features and talk about them and let you decide which one you think's better for what platform you have. So basically, I've made 3 cuts with this saw and I haven't made any cuts with this saw. I ran this saw once just to make sure it worked before this video. And I cut these 2x12s up with this saw here. I gotta say, this Makita, when I fired it up and actually made the cut, it was very smooth. Brand new blades have a tendency to help make that a transition a smooth cut. I'm all in with that. So always use a sharp blade. Try not to let them get too dull. First impressions of this saw, as far as weight, you know, it's a little heavy. I can kind of hold it. I'm getting old, so my wrists are getting a little weaker as I get older. I would say these two weigh about the same. The Makita might be a little bit lighter, if I'm being honest. I don't know, they're about the same. And this is fully loaded. The Makita takes 2 18-volt batteries. The one thing I really didn't like about the Makita saw is they're a little bit cumbersome to get out. The batteries have a battery gauge right here, which you can't see when they're loaded. So there's a battery gauge on top of the saw to let you know how much power you have left before you need to charge. Now, I don't have any other Makita batteries. I just have one charger for these batteries, and that's it. I gave up on this platform a long time ago because I lost about 10 batteries in 1 year, and nobody helped me with anything with it, so I was like, I'm done. So for me to go out and buy this, it was a big step for me. They're 2 5-amp-hour batteries, so that was cool. They have a huge platform of tools that you can use. There's a lot of guys sold on this brand. So I know it's a well put together saw. It has a rafter hook, which is cool. Folds away. I like how it's folding against the batteries, so it's kind of tucked away real nice and tight. Okay. There's a safety switch, so unless you're pushing on this, I like it though. It's really easy to push, and it's real convenient. It's ergonomic. It's right there where it makes sense. Also has a power brake. I like that as well. Okay, depth of cut. Looks like we have about 2 5/8. If you're on a good day, maybe a little bit more, but I'd say 2 5/8 is your depth of cut. All right, what else we got? Okay, angle gauge. You can go to a 45 on this saw. And then if you want to turn the lock out, you can actually get to a 53-degree angle. That's a really cool feature. And this is easy to turn. I noticed that the guard is moving as I turn this a little bit, so that could be an issue. Might have to lift the guard a little bit. And sometimes this part is a little funky to figure out. Because, oh yeah, this is an auto locker, so it'll lock you in different positions depending on how you turn it. And there's going to be guys out there going, Doctor, come on, man. You know what's up. But for some reason, oh, okay. See right here? It says 45 degrees. And then you turn the knob up to here. And that'll let you go to 53. Now it's supposed to let you go to 53. Now, someday when I get this figured out, I'll be able to get to 53. Oh, and then there's a 22.5 lock on this as well, which is kind of cool. So there's my 22.5 locker. Oh, now I can get to 53. That's what I didn't understand about this thing. I must have turned it the wrong way or something. Now it's all screwed up. But I can get to 53 degrees by turning this knob. Okay, back to 0. I don't know how many times you're going to really need to get to that. Probably more times than you realize. To get over a 45-degree angle is kind of cool. All right, then you can lock that back down. For blade changes, they have your standard, like 7/16, or maybe that's a 1/2 inch. Like your standard 1/2 inch bolt. But it also has a hex nut on the inside of it, which is kind of cool in case you want to use like a standard hex head wrench or something to get it off. There is a positive stop locker on it. I don't see an onboard tool unless I'm blind, and that could be the case. Because like I said, I'm getting old. I do not see an onboard tool for that. I bet you it's in the bag. There might be a spot to stash it, I don't know. On the DeWalt, let's see, the depth of cut, 2.5 plus. So we'll go a solid 2 9/16. So you get an extra 16th. Let me make sure this thing's zeroed out. It is. Okay. You get an extra 16th inch of depth of cut on the Makita. The nut for the blade changes is right here. It's standard, 1/2 inch, but it comes with a blade nut. Again, it has a positive stop as well. There you go. So to change your, and what's cool is it says tighten and loosen right on the washer on the outside that holds the blade tight against the arbor. And that's easy to remove and take off. And then it stashes right up here next to the battery in kind of a friction fit form. So that's pretty cool. The battery on this saw is top fed. It's a 9 amp hour that comes with it. We threw a 12 amp hour in here because the 9 amp hour is charging right now. So you can run all the multi-volt platform batteries in this DeWalt saw. The battery gauge, there is no battery gauge on the saw because you can see the battery gauge right on the battery on the top. Makes sense to me. You also have a safety switch, and I think this thing has an auto brake as well. Yeah. So I really like that about these saws. They don't continue spinning once you finish cutting, they stop. This has a bevel as well, and you can also go to 53 degrees. This one just easily moves from 45. There's like a little, must be a ball bearing in there or something that stops at 45. There's 50, all the way to 53. I'm in. Actually, that is a nice improvement upon my old saw. This works really smooth. Way to go. This is a magnesium base as well. That's pretty cool. And same with the Makita I just noticed. It's magnesium as well to help keep the weight down. But they are a little bit heavy saw. So your arms are going to be tired by the end of the day, or you're going to get buff using these things. Well, enough about the saws. Let's see how they cut. Should I get some safety glasses? All right, guys. So before you make any cuts, don't forget to wear your safety glasses. Okay? I'd wear a dust mask too, but they're hard to find right now. I'm sure you understand. All right, so I'm just doing this as a non-bias. I'm not a certain judge of any brand. Let's just see how these saws cut. I'm gonna put them at full depth. I'm cutting through a piece of 6x8 pressure treated. I'm just gonna run a couple cuts with the Makita. We'll run a couple cuts. We're gonna cross cut first, and then we're gonna rip. And we're just gonna see how each one does. This is not a speed test. I'm just listening to the motors and seeing how they perform cutting through. Both brand new saws, both brand new batteries, both brand new blades. Let's just see how they do, okay? All right, up first, Makita for the cross cut. Here we go. All right, here we go. One more time. All right, seemed to cut pretty well. Didn't really bog down too much. I think the first or second cut, it might have bogged down just a little bit. So now we'll go with DeWalt. All right, well, that seemed to be about a wash. I noticed that the DeWalt sawdust expels out the side of the guard right here, and that is a little messy. So it kind of threw sawdust all over my piece and all over me. I'm not sure, I didn't notice where the Makita exhausted its sawdust, but it's not out the side of the saw. So I think what I did on my old DeWalt saw was, oh, check this out. There's actually some screws right here, or some threads, so it looks like there must be some kind of a cover for this. But I didn't see it in the bag. So if that's an option, I am definitely gonna cover that, because you're gonna see how dusty I'm gonna get when we do these rips. Okay, so here's a big old knot in this board. I'm gonna run the Makita through it, and then I'm gonna run the DeWalt through it, and I'm gonna rip this entire length, and we'll see if there's any difference when ripping through the knot. All right, so for what I'm noticing, I think this Makita saw has a little more finesse to it, but the DeWalt may have a little bit more power, maybe like all-day framer versus more finish work. I'm not sure. So we're gonna have to give you an update in a few months after using both these saws. We'll be able to tell in a couple months which one we like more, okay? But here we go for the rip. All right, what I'm noticing is that the Makita is spitting the sawdust right out the bottom of the guard, which actually I do like a little bit better. All right, here goes the DeWalt. I think the DeWalt is a little bit heavier than the Makita. I could probably do some research on the internet and figure that out, but why don't you guys go ahead and do that yourselves if you're really serious about the weight. You could probably find the specs on each one of these saws on the respective web pages, and I'll give you the model numbers before we're done here, okay? All right, here we go with the DeWalt. To be honest, I like both these saws. I don't have a problem with either one of them. They're both, these both will replace your corded version of itself, no problem. As a matter of fact, I just ditched the last of my corded skill saws because now we have 3 of these cordless worm drives on site. I think that this Makita will be a great add. I know that these DeWalts, this is our 3rd one. We have 2 that are set up this way, and I have 1 that's actually cut up or hooked up to a Prezi beam cutter that is really well. The only thing I don't like about this DeWalt saw is this port, this exhaust port, which I think we'll be able to fix. Obviously, they addressed this in a previous deal, and there's got to be some kind of cover. I got to go back in the box and look and see if that cover's in the box, or if it's something I have to order online or something like that. As far as battery platforms go, I'm DeWalt 100% all the way. It's Metabo and DeWalt for me. So the battery platform is good for this, but I am not gonna get rid of this Makita. We're gonna run it. We're gonna run these things in the rain. We're gonna run them in the snow. We're gonna run them until we can't run them anymore. And probably in 3 to 6 months, I'll give you guys an update on what I feel as far as both of these saws go. I can already tell you we do like the DeWalt, but this Makita will be a nice add to our arsenal as well. So if you like what you saw today, if I helped you decide, I know I didn't really help you decide probably, did I? Because they're both great saws. So I think it's gonna determine on battery platform for you. And if you maybe want a little bit more of a finish style saw or more of a really aggressive framing saw. And let's see, for model numbers, the Makita model number today is the XSR01. That's XSR01. And the DeWalt version, this is DeWalt version DCS 577. DCS 577. Worm drive style saw, 7 1/4 inch. All right, guys. Hope you learned something with this. I think you really couldn't go wrong with either one. So if you like what you saw, please click that subscribe button and hit that bell icon if you want to be notified every time we're putting out fresh content. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.